here, and I'm going to go into this spread in a little bit. I'm going to first of all relay the information that came through when I was shuffling the cards initially, and then we'll go into this reading, okay? So just keep in mind, this is the same spread that I've been using for, the majority of this year. It looks different because, the deck is different, but it's basically 4 clusters here, 3 advice cards. And these cards are smaller, so they fit on screen. So I feel like it's easier to just implement this new technique. Under the weather, so I try to minimize the recording because it is very draining. So I apologize, you guys. So let's just go into your reading here. One of the first things that I feel coming through is I feel like there's an energy here of a lot of legal paperwork, official documents, things like that, like very detail-oriented type of things that you're supposed to do, kind of like following up with people, playing phone tag, waiting on decisions from one person, which allows you to, know where to proceed. So I feel it's kind of like, a series of things that have to be like lined up perfectly in order for you to like figure out what you need to do, where you need to go, who you need to talk to, and it's a little bit frustrating. So I feel you entering this month, and I do see, the 5th, the 6th, or something like that, being a series of frustrations. But, these are like minor things, but I feel like it affects you more, mainly because you're a fire sign. You want results. You want things to be, very clear cut, like black or white, so that you can move forward. So I feel like in that manner, these are minor things that are happening on the periphery of your life, but I feel like it frustrates you. And so that's what I feel coming through from the 5th, the 6th onward, okay? If not already, resolved in a quick, efficient, and swift manner. So it's a lot of it has to do with like waiting on other people, and other people frustrate you. And I feel like official people that are in a position of authority to, move things along for you. And I feel honestly, they might not just be doing their job. There are inefficiencies here when it comes to institutions, okay? Governmental institution, educational institution, hospitals, clerks, people that are in some type of administrative role, not really up on their game, not really doing their job. So it's frustrating. Just stay calm, do some meditation, and I know these are, uh, minor band-aids to the issue, but I feel like it's you have to really push for specific outcomes. You have to really push things along. They're not going to move along unless you push for it. So I feel like that's where you're supposed to go, but at the same time, it's going to be a little bit irritating. So, keep yourself calm, keep yourself centered. So I feel like there's a lot of frustrations coming through. On the other end of the spectrum, I feel like those things, those annoyances are kind of like on the periphery of your overall existence. So yes, they are irritating, but they're minor, okay? So don't feel like that's something that's going to occupy like a majority of your time. So I feel like they're minor. The other thing I'm feeling here is that there is something that is making you quite happy and quite grounded. It could be a person, or it could just be, finally getting some traction, getting good news. I feel some resolutions, long awaited resolutions. And I feel that coming through from institutions as well. And that's going to be like towards the end of the month. And I feel like, when the sun shifts into your constellation, that's when things are going to really move for you in a very positive manner. So just be patient until then. I do see some resolutions when it comes to health issues for some of you, if you're dealing with it yourself or you're dealing with it within other people. And I do feel mental health for some of you, such as, getting some type of, it's like, it's like, I almost feel like somebody, getting some help health wise, if they're dealing with some type of depression, or they might have, personality disorder. Somebody's getting some help, as well as physical health. I do feel some resolution as to, you know what you need to do, and you at least have some type of a proper diagnosis so that you can move ahead, okay? I'm also feeling this sense of I feel you feeling a little bit isolated. So that means I do feel like, I see some of you who are starting new relationships, kind of like cocooning yourself, like you and whoever you're dealing with, you both are having a lot of like alone time without other people, which is great. I feel some of you might be doing it because it's a clandestine relationship. And then others might just be, very swept off your feet and you want to spend as much time alone with your significant other. So I do feel this element of like rejuvenation in love relationships, realizing who's important for you, who has been there for you, and taking spending a lot of alone time with like significant people in your life, okay, which is nice. Let me see what else I saw earlier. There was a message here. There's something about like peace offering. So it's sort of like making peace with either yourself. So they're saying like a peace offering. And I feel like it doesn't really pertain to other people. It can, but I feel like it's more like kind of like that whole acceptance stage. Because I feel like the beginning of the month, everything was really up in the air. And you're waiting for like either good news, bad news, or just some type of a resolution so that you can know how to proceed. And then I feel like whatever, it's not really the news, it's the anticipation that makes you feel really nervous, scared, and kind of, anxious. It's the anxious, like everything up in the air, anxious feeling. And I feel like the later part of the month is going to allow you to come to peace with things. So that means coming into a term of accepting something, accepting the situation for what it is, not pushing so hard to change a specific outcome because you're accepting it. So I feel this, overwhelming sense of peace washing over you. There is going to be contentment as well. I do see that here in the advice card. So that's what I'm sensing for this month. So it starts out very emotional, and then it's gonna peter out, and it's going to be a lot more stable. Okay. So let's go into your reading here. One of the first thing that came out here is the Ace of Cups as well as the Knight of Cups. I feel for some of you, this is a burst of new love, new relationships, new crushes, new invigoration of feelings for a person in your life. And the Ace of Cups, I do feel that it's like the aces are always seeds, and with seeds you have to nurture it, you have to foster it, you have to cultivate it in order for it to grow. So this is kind of like a blessing that is handed to you by the universe, and what you do with it is going to dictate the trajectory of where it's headed. And I feel for a lot of you it is linked up here with a water sign, a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising sign. And the thing about this is we have the potential here to start something, to foster a relationship. Now keep in mind you are a fire sign, and you're dealing with a water sign energy, somebody who's quite sensitive. I do feel somebody with chiseled feature, quite handsome. So, it could be male or female, but I feel like very, classically handsome or beautiful is what I'm feeling. Chiseled feature and, possibly pale skin, but not always. But I feel like, it's somebody that is that will meet you halfway. They're very innocent. They're very like they're not vindictive. I don't feel vindictiveness coming through from this card. And I also feel like it's the beginning of something where you both are getting to know one another. So once again, we have something that is very, very beautiful coming through. And what you decide to do with it is pretty much up to you. You can nurture it, you can ignore it, but whatever it is, I feel that it's going to be a very positive healing experience for you. Going back to what I started to talk about, you are a fire sign and you're dealing with water energy. So there's a lot of opposition, It's sort of like if you were to look at, natal astrology chart between you and that person, there would be a lot of oppositions, and it brings a lot of excitement. It brings a lot of like the energy is not, it's like the relationship. I feel like there's something here where it has a lot of potential, but there's some elements of difficulty surrounding it as well. For whatever reason, it could just be that you both are very different people. You both are at different stations in your life right now. The other person might be a lot more needy than you are, like not in a bad way, but they might need a lot more reassurance. They're not as strong. They're not as I would say, like, they're not as sure of themselves, and they're not aggressive. And I feel that, Sagittarius is a masculine sign. So even Sagittarian women tend to be a little bit more impatient, tend to be a little bit more of a go-getter, take charge type of person. So I feel that, there's an element here of like possibly a role reversal. If you are a female dealing with a male, or even if you are like a male energy, there's some element here of like very, very intense yin yang energy where you both complement each other. But there are still a lot of differences between the two of you. Differences are not always bad, but it requires a lot of wisdom, a lot of insight to make this relationship solid. Okay, so it requires a lot of work, as in agriculture, as in farming. Whenever you start to grow something, it requires continuing care. But as with all relationships, we can't really sit back and expect things to take off on their own. Some relationships can, but I feel like with this one, it requires a little bit more work, but the payout can be tremendously rewarding. Okay. So I feel some of you have this person coming into your life, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And this is somebody with a lot of insight. So I feel like they might even have psychic abilities. They might be highly, highly intuitive. They might also be just, like they've been around the block, and I feel like they don't offer their love very, very easily. So I feel that they are trying to get to know you. They are attracted to you because I feel like they see you as someone who's very independent, as somebody who's very like self-contained, in control. So they like these. I feel like they think that you are very, very confident and competent. So I feel like they're attracted to you because of that, because I feel like they are lacking in these skills, possibly within themselves. Okay. So it's a situation where you attract your complement. Like there are great complementarities between the interaction between the two of you, because of just the nature of who you are, who they are, and you both can grow, but it requires a lot of self-awareness. So it's not like an easy, passionate thing that's going to take off without any snags along the way. It's going to require I feel quite a bit of work, actually, quite a bit of work, quite a bit of self-awareness from both parties to make things work. Okay. um what I'm also feeling here is for those of you who are dealing with health issues, the Ace of Cups and the Knight of Cups can also indicate some type of medical regimen that you're going to have to take in order to treat something. And I feel like for some of you, it has high potential of curing whatever it is. It has high probability and high potential, okay? I feel like some of you might be signing some type of waiver, some type of disclosure in order to start this treatment. And I feel like if you haven't already, there's a treatment started sometime. There's something starting now that is going to help your health significantly, okay? So I do see a lot of, the start to healing something for many of you, which is great energy. If these two cards are falling out at the beginning, then it indicates to me some really great energies coming through. Going back to what I mentioned about a peace offering, I feel like you might be doing this to another person. This is also indicative of a peace offering. It's sort of like, let bygones be bygones because we care about each other. So let's just agree to disagree and move forward. So that peace offering coming through from another person, I feel for a majority of you, it's coming from your end to another person. And I do sense that the other person, I'm looking at this here, and I sense that the other person is very hesitant. So what it seems to me is like this. It's like whoever you're dealing with, right? And I don't feel for a lot of you it's going to be love relationships. I feel like it's other people that you might have had falling out with, or there might have been some type of estrangement between you and them. And what you're doing here is that, the Ace of Cups, I see it as like unconditional love, and that reminds me of family members, because those are the relationships that really test our ability to love somebody. So I feel for some of you, if you're reaching out to family members, for example, and you're trying to make amends, whoever you're reaching out to, I feel like they're a little bit skeptical. So they're going to be like, I'll believe it when I see it. Or they're going to give you some type of, I feel like they're going to give you some type of like, guidelines. It's sort of like, okay, well, you say you're sorry, I need proof. Or they're going to say like, if you want to maintain this relationship with me, here's what we need to do. So they're going to give you, some papers with like guidelines as how to both parties can conduct themselves. They're going to lay out some clear guidelines as to how to proceed and how to work together as a unit. So I feel that coming through. Okay. Peace offerings are always nice. And I feel like if that's something that you need to do, if it's something you've been thinking about, definitely reach out, because I feel like the outcome is going to be quite positive. It's always good to mend relationships, okay? It's always good to do so. And life is honestly too short, so don't hold these grudges and just try to mend whatever relationship that you can, okay? What's coming through with the second cluster here is the High Priestess and the Three of Pentacles. First of all, the Three of Pentacles, let's talk about this first, because I feel like for some of you, there is a situation here where you're trying to work together with another person, and everyone has their own agendas, right? And I feel like you're working together with them, and you see the value, like the long-term the long-term impact of the work that you're doing, right? And I feel like they're very short-sighted. They only see what they're contributing. They only see how this situation is going to contribute to their own success. So I feel like there is this thing about, long-term vision, which I feel you're very good at seeing, because, your sign is ruled by Jupiter. It deals with higher vibrations, higher ideals, as well as, philosophical like expansion. And it's also rules the ninth house in astrology, which deals with higher education, higher learning, higher consciousness. And it's linked up with the High Priestess too. So I feel like if you're in a capacity where you are working with other people, you might be supervising other people, you might be, in charge of other people. And whatever they're doing, you're seeing them make mistakes. You're seeing them like losing themselves in the details and not seeing the big picture. And I feel like you might have tried several times to talk to them about this. And I do feel like, they're kind of ambivalent. They just don't really care, and they're a little bit short-sighted. So I feel like there is going to be some minor frustration here coming through in the work environment. The High Priestess also indicates a situation where, truths coming to light, truths being revealed in a work environment here. And it might be that, some people might not have the proper training in order to do something, and these things are going to slip out. And so when that comes to light, right, if you're in a position of authority, then you're going to have to decide, do we expend the money and the time and the resources to train them, or do we just fire them and replace them? So there are some difficult decisions that you're going to have to grapple with, especially for those of you in a capacity where you can hire or fire and you are dealing with this. So people's competencies or lack of competencies are going to be revealed. And you need to figure out, what you have to do about that, okay? And I feel like don't try to hide it. Don't try to, cover for them. Because I feel like a lot of you are there. I feel like the people are working in a capacity where it like one weak link, I guess, in a chain is going to cause a lot of problems for everybody involved. So if you're realizing this about a specific person, you need to, bring it to action, mainly because they're a weak link, and if you're building something, a weak structure cannot withstand the test of time. So think about long term. So don't try to, baby or coal this person. That's not going to work. You need to like be a little bit more, you need to be a little bit more objective and be a little bit more detached when dealing with this situation, and try to do the right thing. I hope that makes sense. So Sagittarius, some tough calls for a lot of you. Likewise, if you are kind of like working in the capacity anytime for this month, okay, if you are not sure about what you're doing, take a step back and don't do it. Consult somebody for advice. If you feel like, hey, I'm not really comfortable doing this because I don't really know how to do it, ask somebody, do some research, and make sure you know what you're doing. Okay? Because I feel like, things slipping out, things coming to light, and there might be some reprimand if you're like working under somebody else, and there might be, a reprimand based on your job performance. So keep that in mind as well, okay? I do feel here with the third cluster, we have the Five of Cups as well as the Six of Cups. So let me just say that this is going to pan out in two ways. The first one is that there is a significant relationship in your life, okay? So this is, the Six of Cups is a soulmate type of a connection where you feel emotionally very tied in with another person. In the negative manifestation of it, it could also be like you're stuck with a person because you both have something together. That can be finances, that can be children together, and you have to learn to work together as a unit. And it's really frustrating. What I feel here with the Five of Cups is that a lot of you might have had a falling out with somebody that you really, really cared about, okay? And you thought you could trust them. You thought that the relationship was going to go the distance. And I feel like it didn't pan out exactly that way. And then you might have realized that, you were idealizing the relationship. You were idealizing that situation and looking at it through kind of like rose-tinted glasses. And the reality starts to set in sometime this month. And then for others of you, going back to the peace offering between family members, especially if you have children, it might be overturned. That peace offering, in fact, the other person might not accept it. So the thing here is, the whole process about acceptance. You can be the one to extend a peace offering, but if the other person is not ready to accept it, it is their call. So, don't get upset over it, okay? Likewise, if somebody is extending a peace offering to you, you don't need to be nice. If you feel like you still hold a grudge, just tell them, thank you, but I'm not ready. Or, if you feel like, no, what you did was, unforgivable, then definitely express that. But just know that, it is within somebody's power to either deny or accept what's coming in. And likewise for yourself, it is within your power to decide, your own destiny. So I feel like whatever's coming through, there is going to be, there might be some disappointment for some of you regarding mending relationships with somebody, mending ties with somebody. And I feel for a lot of you, especially, Sagittarius parents, people who have children, there might be some lingering attachments here with baby's father, or like the mother of their child, and there's going to have to be some situation where you have to come back together to work together as a unit. There might also be like, so for example, if you're separated, right, you're no longer with the baby's father, and they've met somebody else. They're, that third person is going to be in the picture raising the child too. And likewise, if you're a Sagittarius man with children and your ex, the mother of the child, might be dating again. So there's that other man involved in the picture. So I feel like it's a tenuous situation. It's like extended family, blended families, people dating again with children. So All of these things are thrown in the mix, and it's sort of like you don't know where the other person has been, so you're just like, do I trust them with the children? So there are all these nuance, relationships coming through, partners coming and going, and at the root of it, I feel like there are also children involved. So I feel like it's a sticky situation. And the thing is, you can't really control who other people date. So pick your battles, and at least, I feel like getting the story from children is going to be crucial as well. Okay, just make sure the kids are happy. This is more about trying to provide a stable environment for the kids. So if your ex is happy and they've got like other people in the mix, if they're happy and their children are safe, then you're fine. So I feel like that's going to be a little bit of a tenuous situation for those of you who have children who are trying to date again, or who are going through the dating process. And likewise, the baby's mother or the baby's father might be trying to date as well. So I feel like it's a little bit tricky, but it will be okay. I do feel that it will be okay. What I'm also feeling is like there might be some custody issues when it comes to children. Okay, so rearrangement of custody issues, rearrangement of meeting times, of like who gets the child when and what days. And then I feel like, going back to court in order to like do a review when it comes to custody, alimony, child support. So all of that's coming through, and I feel like it might have been settled. There might be like an amendment that is needed for it, and then I feel, you're gonna have to decide how you want to proceed. Okay. The last cluster here is the Seven of Pentacles as well as the Two of Swords. So first of all, let me talk about the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles indicates a situation where you have invested a lot of time in a specific situation, and you're waiting for a very favorable outcome. You're waiting for the reward. You're waiting for the payoff. And I feel like a lot of you might be feeling very, very frustrated and kind of like jaded, because I feel like something similar happened to you last year where you put a lot of your time in a situation. You waited for things to, work out well for you, and you might have been disappointed. And I feel like you're obsessively grooming and making sure that this time around things are going to be perfectly perfect, or even like you're making sure everything is where it's supposed to be, everything is in place, dotting all the I's and crossing all your T's. And I feel like the waiting game, so I feel a lot of you are turning in documents. A lot of you are kind of like, there might be children in the picture. The other party is submitting their documents. You're submitting yours. And then there's like this waiting as to, a final decision here. So the Two of Swords is a situation where our intuition is telling us there is something off, okay? And some of you might be, looking at the situation like there's something off here, and you need to really look into it, and you really need to like figure out, why is my intuition telling me that? Why am I thinking about these things? Why is my intuition like telling me, all these things that might possibly happen? So this is a month in which, take off those rose-tinted glasses and look at the situation very, very realistically, okay? Oftentimes, when I see this card, especially with this deck, I think about denial. And I usually think about like, your intuition is telling you something, but you're blindfolded. You're protecting yourself because the truth hurts. The truth really does hurt sometimes. So I feel like, out of a sheer sense of survival, self-preservation, a lot of you might overlook certain situation because it makes it easier. It makes it a little bit more bearable. But I feel that, this situation that's screaming out at you, your intuition is telling you these things. It means to, do something about it, basically. But for majority of you, I feel like this is a card about waiting. This is a card about, waiting for a resolution, making a decision. And like I said at the very beginning, you're going to be a little bit frustrated because a lot of other people are involved in a specific situation, government officials even. And you're waiting for them to get all their act together and to, decide on on something so that you can at least make a decision for yourself to decide where you need to be. And I do feel for a lot of you, it involves children. For others of you, it involves like, health issues. I feel like family situations coming through as well. And what I'm feeling as well is this is pretty much about, accepting things, right? However, this situation here, if there are, if you feel like there's something off with the children, really investigate, okay? Because they don't, most of them don't have the cognitive abilities to, really express themselves. So ask follow-up questions, ask leading questions, ask follow-up questions, voice your concerns, voice your, like really lead up to whatever it is that you're trying to uncover, okay? That might be a better way to go when it comes to dealing with children, to try to get answers from them. So ask leading questions. Now, in terms of your advice, Sagittarius, we have the Three of Cups, the King of Pentacles, and the Nine of Cups. So I feel honestly for your financial situation, things are going to be very, very good this month. I see a lot of you are like expanding, so this can be like getting promotions, getting raises, getting more responsibilities put upon you, but I feel like you're adequately compensated, okay? And then for others of you, I feel like this is a situation, if you're working like in on a client commission basis, you have a lot of opportunities to expand. So there's going to be a lot of good news on the financial front. And we also have a situation here with the Seven of Pentacles, which is waiting for the harvest. And we're ending here with the King of Pentacles, which means that you're going to be very, very quite financially stable. Okay. What it's also saying as well is there's an element here about not succumbing to social pressure and doing just, going ahead and doing what makes you feel good. We also have a situation that deals with, all the cups energy indicates as well overindulgence, and it is birthday time and people tend to overdrink, but either way there's an element here of an element of control and not overindulging, so that's coming through as well. So what I feel is like, do what makes you feel good, as long as you don't overindulge, as long as you don't hurt anybody. But I feel like social pressure is not going to be it is something that you don't need to succumb to, okay? Don't succumb to that social pressure. There is a specific message coming through for, I guess, like it could just be, one or two people. But what I'm feeling very strongly here is you have an earth sign. This is a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising. This person, I feel, has been popping in and out, and it's somebody quite significant in your life. I feel that they're going to surprise you sometime this month, okay? I feel like they're coming in, they're still very, very reliable. And I do feel there is a sense of like, you might not see eye to eye, but there is a lot of support. There's a lot of emotional outpouring, and there is still a lot of like, they welcome you back into the fold, into that social circle, into that social group, okay? A lot of you have been dealing with an earth sign. This is somebody that is making you quite happy. And I feel that, they're very solid, they're very real. So if this is, a love partner, there's going to be an outpouring of love. If it's a love partner, and it's going to make you feel quite good, okay? But either way, finances looks very, very strong for many of you. And I do feel it's going to be a good month, okay, Sagittarius? So let's go into your love reading. So let's see, what's going on for Sagittarius for love, romance, relationship for the month of I'm going to pass over one more time. I've been doing this for a few signs. So it helps me narrow down the energy. Okay, so let me talk about the past first. Okay, so let me talk about the past first. First of all, we have a situation here. It says like a victory over a water sign, okay? That's what I'm hearing. And I heard this message once for the Aquarius reading. It says a victory over a water sign. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. So we have here the Eight of Swords, the Six of Wands, and the Knight of Cups. I do feel in the past position, you were in a situation where you didn't know where to go, where to turn. You kept yourself stuck in a very, very tenuous, possibly a difficult situation. You try to keep things afloat. You try to stay optimistic, and you try to, hang in there as long as you can. A lot of you were involved with a water sign, a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. And I definitely feel that a lot of you might have either gotten out of this situation and broken things off and started to live your life as a single person all over again. Okay? And then for others of you, there might have been a situation where you felt like it was hard for you to go out and meet high quality people. And then you recently met somebody that is a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is new. And I feel like this person really boosts your self-esteem. This person makes you feel really, really good all over again. And as a result of it, I feel like you're able to move forward with a lot of like optimism, with a high, high hopes, high aspirations for the future, and especially trying to create a future for the both of you together as a unit. Okay? So those are the two scenarios. Which brings us to the present situation. First of all, we have the Temperance card, and the Temperance card is coming through to remind you not to overindulge in a relationship. At the beginning of new relationships, it's always like, it's always that honeymoon, that puppy love stage where you can't get enough of somebody. And this is a card about moderation. This is a card about, separating your personal life from your private life. I'm sorry, personal life from other areas of your life. So finding that right balance. Not cocooning too much, spending so much of your time and neglecting your personal responsibilities, your professional responsibilities, or even your friends and family. Okay, so try to do things in moderation. What's also coming through is the Two of Coins, which indicates like a financial situation where you might feel like a physical financial lack, so that you are entertaining each other more at home, or you might feel almost as if you are financially lacking in some way in order to, go out and start dating. So a lot of you might just be really, really inundated with a lot of work, or you are trying to get your financial situation in order. So, dating and things like that is not even on the agenda. So even if you might have met somebody new that is potentially a water sign, you're still trying to juggle between, possibly between some type of separation, dividing up assets, trying to figure out how much you really have and things like that. So I feel financial considerations are preventing you from really dating and having that vibrant, robust dating life that you're hoping for. What I'm also feeling as well is there might be thoughts about, voyage, travel, and things like that to see one another. So there might be distance, there might be a lot of communication where I feel like, you're trying to get to know each other as well, but underlying it here is finances and things like that between you and your partner, or between you and the new person that you've met, that you need to sort out in your own respective lives before the relationship can take off, okay? For those of you who have, broken out of a bad relationship in the past where you felt stuck, I feel like you're getting your financial situation sorted out right now. So dating is really not on the agenda. Of course we all want love, but I feel like, right now you're very busy. You're trying to keep everything afloat. So I feel like you might be excluding yourself from the dating experience, mainly because of that, okay? So the foundation is the thing that on which, everything else is built. We have the Four of Wands, the Seven of Cups, and the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords indicates like some type of communication, news coming through regarding the viability of a relationship, okay? So first of all, for those of you who are coupled up, with the Four of Wands, this is a family marriage type of an institutional card. The Seven of Cups indicates temptation. It indicates like, flirtations and things like that. Temptation coming through from the external environment. So a lot of you might be married, and there is some type of an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, that is, I guess, like flirting with you, your partner. There's some type of temptation, some type of like situation where somebody is being tempted to step out of a relationship. So that's coming through quite clearly. And then for others of you, I feel like you might be getting news, communication from people from your past, especially where, you once had like either some type of fling or some type of a significant relationship with them. There's words, there's like news messages and things like that you are thinking about from your past. Okay, so you're hearing things from people from your past, and you might be coupled up. The relationship is a little bit stale, and you're feeling like, okay, there's this other person trying to, I guess, like serving as a temptation for you. What I'm also feeling is a lot of you might be honestly taking a relationship to the next level. So that means engagement, marriage, and things like that. And you are disagreeing with your partner on how to, decorate the house, on how to like plan for the wedding. So there are creative differences. It's very minor, I feel. There are creative differences as to, one person overspending, the other person's a little bit more frugal. One person like controlling the purse strings, and the other person wants to go wild with, extravagant spending. So there is that whole concept about, finances affecting stable relationships, mainly because of spending habits. Okay, so that's coming through as well. Crowning this reading is something that you are thinking about. We have the Lovers, the Ace of Swords, as well as the Three of Cups. Now, the Lovers card is a very, very strong physical attraction to another person. In this deck, it's a very, very innocent card. It's indicating a lot of communication, a lot of like verbal exchanges, emotional exchanges, as well as like, a very strong physical connection. Two people are very much in sync. I'm not reading this card as choices or options or whatever. I'm just reading it straightforwardly, the way that it's depicted, which is that, you're happy and content with another person. There's reciprocity in this relationship. It's basically linked up with the Ace of Swords, which means a victory. This is a situation that you've been scoping out for quite some time. So a lot of you, I keep seeing this sense of temptation coming through. You're with somebody and you might be tempted to look elsewhere, okay? Likewise, this is coming through from relationship partners as well. There is an element of temptation, mainly because, especially for those of you who are coupled up, there might be like flirtation coming from outside of the relationship, being one relationship, scoping out another, being in one relationship and keeping options open. So if you're just dating somebody, that's fine. But if you're like committing to them, like with the Lovers, you want to figure out what you need to do, okay? Because I do see, it's echoed across like two clusters already. And then we have the Three of Cups, which is the socializing card, the social dating card, somebody with a lot of options, and opening the door for third-party interference to come through. So this is a little bit tricky here. So you might want to, figure out which side of the coin you're in and try to decide and move things along accordingly, okay? But overall, this Lovers card is a very, very positive energy. It indicates, like, for others of you, if you have recently met somebody new, there's a lot of date nights. There's a lot of alone time as well. There's a lot of, nice romantic ambiance. And I feel like the relationship itself, there is a lot of reciprocity. It seems to me like, it seems almost like, emotionally, like you're on the same page, you make each other feel good. There's good communication. So it's not a heavy emotional burden. It's more of a fun, light-hearted energy. And I still feel like, the love is shining through, okay? Um, be careful if you are the one with when you're with somebody, you will know whether or not you have their undivided attention. So I feel like, it's pretty a given. We all know. So just be careful of I feel like, for more like stable relationship partners, I do sense there is temptation in your environment, but I don't feel it's being acted upon, okay? What's coming through in the future position? We have the Three of Coins, which means, wanting to build a relationship together, wanting to take things to the next level. And we have the Sun, overall financial success that is making people feel quite good. And a union that is very positive, is very uplifting, and it's very harmonious as well. And we do have the Chariot, which is another victory card. So you got the Ace of Swords, a victory in a love situation. A lot of you, for example, actually, so what I feel is for a lot of you, you might be eyeing somebody, you might be socially dating them, they have a lot of suitors, and then you might achieve a victory here where you get their undivided attention, okay? And then for others of you, I feel like if you've got this person, you might be taking things to the next level. There's a lot of, positive energies here. And we have the Chariot card, which is another victory card, which means that the next phase of it is the Major Arcana, which means you both are trying to work together as a unit to build something together. So what I'm feeling, especially for those of you who are, single and dating, if you are financially in flux right now, it's probably not a good time for you to start dating, because I do see a lot of blockages physically preventing you from, really going out and, just socializing a lot. And I feel as well, this Five of Pentacles is a situation where you are being solicited to go out, but I feel that the financial situation might not be at its best right now. Additionally, you might have, two people that are vying for your affection. So I feel an energy of a water sign, a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. And then I feel an energy of an air sign, so an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. And what I'm feeling is this. You have the Two of Pentacles, which means, juggling two options. So I feel like a lot of you might be cocooning in the house, spending date nights with one person because you don't want to be seen as, dating two people. So I feel like that element coming through, some type of clandestine operation happening from the Sagittarius's view, because I feel like there's a water sign, there's an air sign. And then for others of you, I feel like you're trying to get a hold on your finances, and as a result, the going out, socializing, things like that might not be available to you. So what I'm sensing here is you have, you have suitors, air sign and water sign. And then we have like, for those of you who have recently met a water sign in the very recent past, this person is making you feel quite good. It's a light-hearted, good relationship. I feel that. It's actually very positive. A lot of you might be taking trips to go see this person. They might be taking trips to come see you. And I feel like, it's going to work out really well, because I feel that the communication is very strong between the two parties, meaning everything is discussed. No one's really kept in the dark, and no one feels like they're left out, okay? So overall, good energies. Be careful about clandestine relationships. If you are juggling options, just, I don't feel anything about getting caught. I don't sense that, but I feel that, just for the person that you're dating, just for their sake, you should decide who you want to be with, because this juggling act seems a little bit exhausting, okay? So please visit my website where you can book an appointment for yourself and view my availability as well. I will see you in the mid-month reading. Take care of yourself. Once again, I'm very sorry for the delay, okay? I'm just feeling like very feverish, and I have been this whole week, okay? I apologize. Take care of yourself, Sagittarius. Bye-bye.